Alright, today I'm going to show you how to edit your reading response journal to fit your students' needs. So first, you're going to want to go into the editable slides, and it's this one right here. Want to call these just reading. And I don't want to use this one, so I'm going to delete it. Anything that I'm not wanting to use, I'm going to delete. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm actually going to click on the outside of the box, copy, and paste it in. All right, so then next you want to look at the table of contents. Do you want to change it? So this allows that if you want to type something else here, instead of a table of contents page, you can. I'm going to delete it. Here, so I kept my table of contents, but maybe I want to write something different for the ideas of things to write about. I'm actually not going to use that, so I'm going to delete it. This looks good to me, so I'm going to delete it. Anything that you are not going to change, you can delete. So here, I'm going to type this to say expectations. And then here, I'm going to type up what I want my students to do. So maybe I want to, okay. Next up, I have all of the student response pages. So you'll find that none of them are absolutely blank. This, I used clip art for the back, and that violates their terms of use, and so therefore I wasn't able to put a blank one. If you need a blank one for any reason, under my terms of use, Ashley Hughes, her store, and you can go on and you can purchase that, and then that will give you the ability to use it within your classroom and to change it out. The yellow slides, and then so let's just say that I want this. I would like the black and white checklist. So I'm going to delete all of these. Now you'll notice that anything that the students are going to type on, I haven't done that yet. So basically, this is the background, is what you're creating right now, are just the backgrounds, and that's what we're going to switch out. So then after you've customized your student entry pages, one of the most important parts, step 6, is you're going to click Save As. Save As will allow you to then save this as your own file, but not mess up the other file that was there. So let me just put it on my desktop. Maybe I want this to be my reading response journal 2020 slides, because this year I have someone that can't with the color yellow, and that's the whole reason why I'm switching out the color yellow. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to keep it as a PowerPoint. After I've done that, I want to duplicate the student's response sheet to match the number that I plan to have in my journal. So you're going to have to go in once we go into Google Slides in the next step, and we're going to insert the backgrounds one by one. So 100 pages is a lot to insert one at a time, and maybe I don't have time to do that, so I only want to do 25. Today, I'm going to only show you a couple. So there's 2 ways that you can do this. On my computer, I can press Command-Shift-D, and that will duplicate the slide. You can also go up to Slide and go to Duplicate Slide. So I want, let's do 5. My next step is that I need to number them. So 1, I have 2. Okay, so now that they've been numbered, I am going to want to make sure that this PowerPoint includes all of the slides that I want to edit. So an easy way to do this is to click down here, actually make them bigger, and I can just double check. Okay, so I have my different covers. These are the ones I want. And then I change this, yes, and then I have my student pages, and you always want to double check that I have everything numbered. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now it's ready to go. So I want to export it. So File, Export. So I like to call these, my preference is to call them flats. The reason why I call them flats is because what you're doing is you are flattening the slide so that nothing can be moved around. So everything that I have on these slides, students cannot change or edit in any way. And so they're flat, and so then I like to call them flats. Right here, the file format, this is one of the biggest spots. So you want to save as a PNG. You could also save them as a JPEG. I have found that JPEGs lose a lot of quality, whereas PNGs hold all of their quality, and so they stay the most clear. So PNG, and I'm going to save every slide because every slide in this presentation I need. And I'm going to click Export. And it's going to give me a little thing to tell me that every slide has been saved as its own thing. So next up, we're going to go on to how to input our edited slides into Google. So here's our reading response journal. So the first thing that I did is I went to File, Make a Copy of my entire presentation. You can tell that it's a copy because it says Copy of Reading Response Journal. So I'm going to rename this to match what I named my other things. So I'm going to put in 2020. So now it matches up with my other file. So I am going to first just go through and change anything that I want to change as far as backgrounds go. So I'm going to delete these. Remember, I felt like my students couldn't handle the stickers. I'm going to delete them. The wonderful thing is that everything that is linked, it doesn't mess up the link numbers, which is amazing. So remember, I made a different cover. So I'm basically going to go to background, choose image, browse. Mine was on my desktop, my 2020 flats, slide 1. And it is a lot of work. And then this is an editable text box that I added. As you can see, it's still there and it's still editable, which is really awesome. If you wanted to say something different, then all you do is you type something different in it. Let's see, remember I changed this page. So I'm going to want to go to background, choose my image, slide number 4, because I had my expectations on it. But you'll see that the nice thing is that none of these changed. So they're all still there and the links still work. This I could make smaller or I could take it away. So these icons, they move. Okay, so then next up, remember I only made 5 pages. So I actually don't need these continued table of contents pages. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to delete, remember, anything I'm not going to use. Let's say you took my advice and you made 25, so then it would be weird to have number 26. You can also delete that. So you can delete, so I'm pressing Shift so that I can select more at a time, and I can delete all that. And then I can just have 1 through 25 so that it doesn't look wonky. All right, and then remember I changed my backgrounds because I didn't want the yellow. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose number 1. And so you'll see that the checks are still there. The table of contents link is still there. This is still there. And actually everything that I've typed in is still there. Because as I go through, this isn't a good example. as I go through and continue to change all of these, all of those icons and text boxes stay the same. All right, so then I want to go through and I'm going to delete everything that I'm not going to use. So I can click on this, it's a little preview, and I can scroll and press shift to choose all the ones I don't want, and I can press delete. And so there's my complete everything that I want. And then icons. So let's say that I want an icon to link back to their cover or to the directions page. Let's link back to the directions page. So under add-ons, you're going to go to get add-ons. You probably don't have this, but if you do, it's called icons for slides. And from here, if you already know your hex code for what color you want, then that's the easiest way. This slider is really not that easy to use. But let's say we're going to go with green, and we'll find an icon that means directions, or maybe we'll just do like a home button. And so we're going to insert that. All right, so mine failed to insert because it says that I'm logged into multiple Google accounts, which I am because I'm logged into my personal as well as my teaching. So I'm going to go log out of those and then I'm going to jump back on. So if this happens to you, you just go through and you log out of all of the ones except for the one that you're actually using. All right, so let's try again. Click our home, click that's what we want to insert, and there it is. All right, so we obviously don't want it to be that huge, so we're going to make it small. And maybe I want it to be up there. And so these icons, you can delete them if you want to, or you can insert another one if another picture will work better for your students, or another color. So maybe you have someone who's colorblind and doesn't see the color yellow well, you can switch out the colors. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to link it. So insert, link, and I actually want to link it to a slide in this presentation. But I could also link it to maybe if I have directions or expectations somewhere else on another page or another slide or a PDF, I could link it to that as well. So I'm going to actually link it to the very first slide. And now when students click, it will take them back directly to the directions. All right, the last thing that you may want to edit, and then you can copy and paste this. So edit, copy, or Command C, and then edit, paste, or Command V. And you'll just go through and you'll put it on every single slide. Okay, so maybe I want them to type something else up here, or maybe I want them to put their how are they reading it instead of the author. So I can say, you know, like, are you reading on a Kindle, an actual book? So I can put that in there. And then if that's, I'm going to click on the outside of the box, copy or Command C. I'm going to delete this one, and then I can just paste that in to each of them to make it edited. And there it is. And then the last thing that you're going to want to do is, of course, check your links. Let's try page 2, 2. back to my table of contents. And now it's ready to assign.